Hello everybody and welcome back to Farming Simulator 22. Double G here. This is episode 35 in the series we're doing on the Elm Creek map. So we're in November. I need to feed the dog, but before I do that, I just wanted to show you guys this a little more. If you look off to the right, yep, big trees. 140 of them ready to come down. So we're definitely going to get into that this episode. Need to feed this guy. Make sure he's taken care of. Alright, so in the last episode we started in October. We spread lime and subsoiled in 45, 46, 47, and 50. I wanted to go ahead and get those subsoiled so that I would expose all the rocks. That way when I got the rock picker I could pick everything at once. And then I did a potato contract in field 72. About halfway through the contract, it was looking like I was only going to have rocks in 54 and 50. So I went ahead and got the rock picker going, and then I finished off the potato contract. And I made about 7,000 in extra potatoes and a little over 11,000 for the contract. So we're at almost $27,000 in the bank. And then when I was done with the contract, I finished picking the rocks and subsoiling. And that was a pretty long episode, and to be quite honest, it'll probably be a pretty long episode this time too. But we got to get this stuff done. So if we look at the map, pull up the composition here. So 54, I want to get grass in that. It needs to be fertilized. And then I'll get the seeder going because November's the last month I can plant grass until March. And I really want to be cutting this field in March. Also have a lot of tall grass in 48 and 49. I'd like to get that cut so that we can put it in a silage pit. And we'll have room for the silage pit once we cut down all the trees. And I'll put a silage pit over here next to the hayloft. We'll probably wind up with 2 or 3. That way I can cycle the grass through the pits or make silage, cover it, and store it until it's the best time to sell it. So we'll get on that probably at the end of the episode. But for now, I want to get in the John Deere and get 54 fertilized. So we already have some fertilizer. It'll probably be enough to get it done, at least I'm hoping. We put the fertilizer back in the spreader after we spread the lime last episode. I bought too much lime. There's still 2 bags at the vehicle shop that I need to pick up, but I'm not super concerned about that. It's not going anywhere. This should only take a couple, maybe 2.5 passes to get this fertilized, and then we can start planting the grass. And I'll let the seeder go while I'm cutting this field here next to the sheep. And it'll probably continue planting into the tree cutting. So we'll probably do the majority of the tree cutting off camera just because there's 140 trees and that's going to take a while. But we will go through some of it before I just do everything off camera. So that'll be cool. Set this back to the widest. Yeah, it's probably 2 full passes in a little bit. Shouldn't be too bad. It's November, so we can also sell the eggs, and we should have a lot of eggs. I don't think we've sold any off-peak this year. So I'm thinking 25 or 30,000 liters, maybe. So that'll give us the money we need to get the log trailer and lease the tree harvester. Turn off. Now I don't believe I'm going to have the money to buy a wheel loader. I will buy one. But I did a little bit of testing before I recorded this episode, and the log trailer can use auto load, which is nice. So I can just auto load the logs onto the trailer, and I'll use that. It's a bit of a cheat, but it's one that I'm willing to use. All right, yep, we're gonna have plenty, and I'm gonna make it narrower. Should get it no problem. Yep. Stay in the middle so we don't have a gap though. So I think this field is going to be plenty big enough for our grass needs. The primary function of the silage moving forward is going to be to feed the cows. And I think with this field getting cut 2 to 3 times a year, it's going to be more than enough silage and still probably have some left over to sell. But we'll only be selling what we don't need for the cows. There you go. Everything's fertilized. So now I can go get the Massey Ferguson with the seeder and get this going. And then I'll cut and row the grass in 48 and 49 so it's good to go. And I'll do that in a time lapse, and I will see you guys when we're done with that and ready to sell the eggs and bring down the trees. So, got the grass work done. Everything's cut and rode up. Ready to go into a pit when we have one to put it into. And now we need to sell the eggs. So we have a good amount of eggs. It's like 4.5 pallets. They're still really good on food. So we're sitting on 23,000, almost 24,000 liters worth of eggs. It's already in the truck. So I'm hoping this gets us somewhere around 30. That popped me right in the trailer. Yep, so we're at 30,100, and the best place to sell is, let's see, looks like the fast food restaurant. No complaints out of me. Close this up, see if we can get through this little driveway without getting stuck in the ditch. Once we sell the eggs, that'll give us, what, 30,000. This could be close to $100,000 worth of eggs because we didn't sell any mid-year. And that'll give us the money to buy the log trailer and to get the tree harvester. Luckily, we're selling just across the street. Kind of a tight spot to get into with this big truck, but it's doable, especially with everything up at the front. Alright, let's see what our total is. We were just south of 30,000. Oh wow. Oh wow. That is 129,515 in eggs. Awesome. That is going to get us that much closer to the big cow shed with the trees. So just bring this through here. I'll park the trailer over next to the sugar mill. And then we'll take the semi over to the shop, to the vehicle shop, so that we can bring back the log trailer. So even without selling we just sold eggs. Even without selling trees this episode, I think we'll be fine to get all the equipment we need and put in a silage pit. And I think I may just go ahead and do all my buying at once. So if we think about everything we need, we'll put in a silage pit once the trees are down. I need a log trailer, tree harvester, and I'll need a forage wagon for the grass. So first things first, I will get the tree harvester and I'll let a worker drive it over to the tree field because it moves pretty slow. And we can go back in and look and see what else we need and how much money we have. Now something to keep in mind, and this I found out as well in the little bit of testing I did with the forestry stuff. These tree harvesters are rated for a diameter of tree. And the first one, this Komatsu was the first one I took over there, and it said that the tree was too big for it. This one will do 71 centimeter, this will do 64 centimeter, and this one will do 80 centimeter, and I was able to cut down the trees with this one. So we will lease this, which means all of the trees need to come down in the episode because it's $10,000 plus $10,000 per hour. I can't really get around that. But if I do it all in one day, I won't incur another almost $5,000 daily fee. So I will get a worker to drive that. Oh, we're doing good over here. Apparently we haven't run out of seed. I'll get a worker to drive this over to field 50. And that way we can continue looking in the vehicle shop. And it looks like it's not having any issues. All right. So we also need a log trailer. Now the log trailer I'm going to buy. That way we can sell as we need to. I can sell it back. However, I think it's under forestry. I do think that I'll be planting another plot of trees in another field very soon. So this would be a solid investment to have, and it's only 40,000. I say only 40,000 now that I have plenty of money. So I'm going to buy this, and then I'll go on ahead and get a forage wagon for picking up the grass later. I don't need a super big one because the fields are so close. Making multiple trips is not going to be the end of the world. So I'll look into the forage wagons. This one will do 16,000, 23, 26. It's a pretty big jump. Double check the, I swear if I click on this and see a log trailer, I'm going to be so upset. Okay. Well, that was worth a look. So I can't afford this one. And the difference between this one and this one is only 3,000 liters for an additional 25,000. So I'm going to go with this one. I believe this is the same one I use on the French map in the time-lapse series. And if it is, that one worked pretty well. So we'll go ahead and buy this as well. So we can take the log trailer. Hopefully, if we have enough time left over at the end of the episode, we will be coming back to get that forage wagon to put the grass in a new silage pit. This log trailer works with auto pickup, so we're going to get by with not having to have a wheel loader quite yet. So with all of this new equipment, we're going to need more storage area. And I have contemplated since about episode 10 taking the smallest field in the front of the farm, field 46, the first one on the left up here that we'll come to, and actually paving it over to create a bit of a yard, put more storage there, maybe a vehicle shop, and have a place to park things. Yeah, this field just to the left, put a big shed there, and have some, parking lot kind of area for the trailers and whatnot. So that may happen sooner rather than later. But I can't go spending a whole bunch of money I don't yet have. So I think the process for this is going to... Oh, the guy just stopped in the middle of the road. So I think the process for this is going to be to cut down a row of trees, clear the stumps, come in with the log trailer to pick them up and move them and stack them somewhere else, and then clear another row of trees. So this thing can be a bit of a beast to handle, but I think we'll be all right. So first things first, we need to unfold it. And the good thing with this tree harvester is you can kind of drag the tree around a little bit to get it somewhere that's a good place to let it drop or to cut it up. So then I'll also have to turn it on, which opens up the head, extend out the boom, and then we'll get close to the tree. You'll know when you're on the tree because it gives you that cut, the X for cut. But what I do want to do is drop the head down, cut as low to the ground as possible. And the trailer that I just bought is 12 meter. So we'll cut them to 12 meter lengths. So that's, there you go, cut length. And then we'll hit X to cut. And what I try to do is I try to cut, lift, and swing it to the side to hopefully get it to fall into the other trees. Like that. Now, I can kind of drag this into an area to make sure, because I'm on the edge of some land that I don't own. So if I make sure I get this over into my part, it'll let me pick them up. Like this. And I won't have to do this except on the first row. Now I want to get this far enough away that it doesn't hit the harvester. And then when I hit X, it will strip and cut it at 12 meters. Oh no. And then strip it down. And we should get two 12-meter logs and then whatever's left over out of each tree. Oh, too far. And you basically just have to play with it until it says cut. Like that. And again, I'm going to cut it. As soon as it's done cutting, I'll lift it and let it kind of settle into the trees. And then I should be okay to go ahead and let this one cut here. This machine is pretty powerful and has pretty fat tires on it, so you can kind of drive over the stumps and the logs a little bit, you know, within reason. I'm just trying to work it off to one side so I can go down the row, and then I'll come through and pick up that row once I get to the end. So what I'll do is I'll continue to cut these down off camera. I'll get to the end of the row. I'll come through with my chainsaw and the lumberjack mod and get rid of the stumps. And then I'll drive through with the log trailer to pick them up and get them stacked reasonably neatly somewhere else. And I'll do some of that off camera. I won't do it all. I'll do about maybe half, and then we'll check back in and see what it's looking like. Alright y'all, so we're creeping up on about halfway through the trees. I'm really starting to get the hang of this tree harvester. I mean, I've done 70 trees at this point, about 60 or 70. And really it's just trying to manipulate the way the tree falls. Sometimes they get caught on another tree and it'll drag the harvester forward when it goes to strip and cut. But I'm going to get this last tree in this row, and then we can take a look at how everything's going. Still sticking with my lift and swing it off to the right if possible. Yep, I got my buttons mixed up that time. So what we have left is 9 rows of trees, but I did take the time to take out the front 2 rows on the other end just to make it a little easier to maneuver. So, yeah, we have a lot of logs on the ground. I did take out these front 2 rows here to give myself some room to work. I worked from this end up to the train tracks twice. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows of 8 left. That'd be 72, so that's right at half. And what I've done is I've been picking up the logs with the trailer and then just stacking them on the edge of the field. And each stack represents one full load as determined by the auto loader. So I will see if this one's full. Oop, that was the wrong way. You just have to get reasonably close. Not run over the logs. Alright, I gotta turn around so I can. And just like with pallet auto load, it'll let you know when it's full. So it's still taking some logs. This looks like a very big load. And then each stack along the side of the field represents a full load. So currently, I want to say I'm on, well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loads. And I'll just bring them down to the end and unload them. I didn't want to try to sell in the middle. Oh, that was the wrong side. Just load them back up. Probably will not grab them all. The ones to the left to be a little too far left. That did look like a very oversized load. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll loop around and pick up the ones. I'm not sure how it's determining what a full load is, but this has happened a couple times where it looked like a very big load, and if I unloaded it and reloaded it, it was more than a load. These appear to be the very tops, the skinny ones. So we're probably looking at 8 loads. I'd say 8 loads for the half. So maybe 16. It's going to be a lot of trips to the sawmill or the carpentry shop or wherever the best place to sell this is going to be. But I wanted to get kind of a count on how many loads so that once we sell the first load, we'll have a general idea how much we'll be able to make. So currently that's 7. It might actually be 9 loads. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loads. And basically I just drive back and forth picking up whatever I can get from a given spot till it tells me it's full. The first full row I did was just over a load. A load plus about 2 trees, so maybe 10 trees per load. So it's saying it's full. At this point, I'm just going to have to start stacking them on top of each other, or I'll run out of room. Yeah, see, this is more than a load as well, and the truck's acting funny. Oh, don't tip, don't tip, don't tip, don't tip. No! Yeah, Super tricky. It almost seems like it picks up the biggest logs first, which would make sense. So we'll go ahead and try and just start stacking these up. I shouldn't have so much of an overloading problem when you pick them all up from one area. It doesn't seem to give me as many problems. Because every time I thought that I was overloaded, I was able to unload and reload. It is definitely taking the bigger logs first, which is something to consider when we sell, pulling from these massive stacks. Oh, hit the header. The cut head. When we go to sell, we'll be taking loads of the big logs first and then the smaller logs later, but that'll be fine. It should be calculating a full load based on the volume of the wood anyway, so try and neaten that up a little bit. So this is load 9, so almost 10 loads for half. It's not wanting to let me. Oh, there it goes. So I'll clean the rest of this up, continue cutting down the rest of the trees, and we'll check back in when all of the trees are down. And there she goes, y'all, the last tree in the field. Of course, it's going to fall the wrong way, but that's all right. It's not going to be in the way of anything else. While we're cutting that, you can see I've done the last 3 or 4 rows. They still need to be picked up. Still have some stumps to get rid of. But first, I want to get this folded up and have a worker take it back to the farm shop. I'm also going to want to send the John Deere to the farm shop to pick up the forage wagon, and I need to take the Massey Ferguson and get a bucket for the front loader. So we're going to do some work with the workers here. Go to the map and here. I'm going ahead and send this guy, since it's the furthest, set destination, and we will set it to here. Target is unreachable. Is it because there's trees in front of it? Maybe. Actually, the John Deere will need to come out of the barn too. Go ahead and get everybody ready to go, and then we can send it all at once. So this guy set the destination to here. It says it's driving, no errors yet. This guy, set destination, needs to go to about here. And then I can jump into the Massey Ferguson. Got to get the cedar off of it, swap the weight around. Oop. Got the Field 54 all planted, so that's good. Oh, 8% of seed left over, so it's cutting it close, but it's done. So I'm going to drop this off into the shed, swap the weight around, pick up the front loader, but drop the forks. And then I can send this guy over to the vehicle shop as well. Oh, I did have to move the logs. So if you think about it, we have all those piles of logs and these logs, plus the logs on the ground. 140 trees, they get cut into 3 pieces each, is going to create 420 logs, and that started to lag out the system a bit. So I did move some around in different places just to cut down on the lag. So I'm going to back this in, probably going ahead and fill it up so it's ready to go for next time. And refill. Still needs a little more. And we can drop it. Awesome. Now I did run in to 2.5 hours on the harvester, which meant that I did wind up paying another $10,000 on that lease. Still totally worth it, but it has depleted my funds a bit, and I don't have enough to buy the bucket and the silage pit, but I do have several $100,000 worth of wood laying on the ground, so I think I know where we're going to get it from. But for the majority of the wood sale, I think I'm going to do that next episode. It looks like my front loader fell over. Let's see if we can super strength it. Oh, that's better. Should be able to grab it now. Probably the pit. So what I'll do is I'll drop the forks over on this right side where there's no hole for it to fall into. Alright, forks are off, and we can send this guy. Did the tree harvester get stuck in the field? Oh, we'll go check that out too. It looks like he's stuck in between the buildings. Worker, drop this over to... we'll say here. It says it's going, but it's not actually going. Oh, that might be one. How did it get flipped? This should not work. Can we use the arm to help it stand back up? Maybe. Yeah. Oh, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? It's gonna work. Oh, look at that. Haha. Okay, fold that guy back up. Apparently hit the building. It's no bueno. get it on the road before we set it off this time. Let's try this one more time. Send this guy to here. Looks like the other ones have made it no problem. And I already have a load of logs on the log trailer, so we're going to take that and sell it just to make sure we have enough money to put in the silage pit. And it'll give us a good idea of what a load's going to go for. So at this point, we've determined that it doesn't fluctuate that much. The best price is currently at the sawmill, so we'll head over that way while we're letting the worker get the other equipment to the vehicle shop. So all in all, it took about 4 hours. You can see I've backed the time scale down to 0.5, which means 1 hour in game equals 2 hours real time. And it took 2 hours in game, so it was right at 4 hours. And I still haven't completely finished picking up all the logs, but everything is on the ground. My goal was to get to the point where I could return the tree harvester. So we'll get this load sold. I think at the halfway point we had 10 loads, so maybe 20 total. If I get 3 grand or 5 grand, wishful thinking, a load, that would be excelente. Whoa, bro. Alright. We'll do the majority of the wood selling next episode in 20 loads. It's going to be a lot of that done off camera. I will, however, keep a... Did I go the wrong way? No, I went the right way. I will keep a load count, and we'll kind of, figure it on a starting number and an ending number. That'll give us a good idea. So I'll pull back into here. Oh, bumpy. I just have to get it into the trigger and then jump out to the exclamation point. Oh, maybe the belts. There you go. It's not giving me the option. Oh, there it is. Sell wood. You have to be right up on it. Holy mackerel, that's 23,000. Oh my lord. Let's see, 23. Wow. No, that's about right. It's about 500,000. Okay. We'll deal with those numbers later. But what it has done is definitely given me enough. Oh yeah, 3,000 to 5,000 would have been way too low. Never mind. Me and my math. So at that rate, if those numbers hold true, maybe 500,000 for all the trees. That'll get us a good bit of the way to our big cow barn. We still have the lettuce to sell, a ton of straw to sell. We'll keep banging out the silage in the pits. So we'll get there. And now we'll have the place to put it. I'm also going to need to find another place to put some trees, because they clearly make some pretty decent money. But what I would like to do is to buy the sawmill and the carpentry for this map. I probably won't do it on my other map. but this has worked out pretty well to have a field of trees as opposed to having, buying forest land and cutting it down. It seems a little more organized. Maybe field 43 is a small field. It's not great for putting a crop in because it's not big and it's oddly shaped, but it is a place where we could plant some trees maybe. So we'll look into that in the near future because it does take 2 years for them to mature. Actually, if you look off to the right in the distance, that little triangular brown field, that's field 43. So it could be a good place to put some trees. So I'll park this here and then I'll jump over to the vehicle shop. We can get all the things purchased and returned and whatnot picked up. So I'll just plop this over here. And we can go first to the harvester. And we'll get it returned. Come over here to the front loader tools, and I just want a universal bucket. It's not very expensive, but I was on like 26,000 and this would have put me just below 25, which is what the silage pit cost, which is why I went ahead and sold a load of wood. We're going to get this guy hooked up to the forage trailer. Trailer, wagon, whatever you want to call it. Get it back over to 4849. I'll actually have it drive to like in the edge of field 50. That'll work. So if we set the destination to say here, that should be a good spot. Then I'll grab the Massey Ferguson and the bucket and head over that way myself. John Deere seems to be moving at a pretty good pace. I don't think we'll be able to catch it. We'll just follow it over. So once we get back to the field, I'll place the silage pit. And I'll do a time lapse and I'll clean up the trees and get rid of the stumps that are remaining, and then get all the grass put in the silage pit. Really the reason I got this bucket is to kind of scrape and push and level out the silage in the pit, and also to clean up the ends because it can get kind of messy. You have to scoop what fell out of the pit back into it. So you don't need a huge bucket, but something definitely helps. Did the forage wagon already get over there? Or did it go another way? Oh, it went another way. Probably because I told it to go into field 50, it went around the corner, so maybe we will beat it. I'll just take this guy over here. I'm going to place the silage pit. The way that this field grades up towards the train tracks, I think the plan here, because I want to have multiple silage pits, is not to run them long ways, but to run them left to right here. And that way, when it landscapes the silage pit in, if anything, they'll kind of be tiered. but they're more level left to right than they are front to back from this angle. I'm going to go in the construction menu, and I'm just going to start with the smallest silage pit. I think it'll do what we need it to. Worst case scenario, I may wind up having to sell it and get the medium one. Silage pit is in the silo category, so here's the small one. It's pretty sizable. You see here how it would grade the end up next to the track, whereas if I turn it, it's still grading a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be as bad. And I can go like one here, one here, one here. So that's the plan. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this guy. I'm going to say right about here. One with a little gap in it, and then another one out there. So that's good. Don't think we're going to have too many issues. It did slope down a little here. Not the end of the world. Alright, and the forage wagon made it. So I'm going to do a time lapse. I'm going to get these trees picked up. I'll probably put them in this corner just to avoid some lag. I need to get rid of the stumps, and then I will move the grass with the forage wagon into the silage pit. And once I get that done, we'll talk about compacting it, cleaning it up, and getting a tarp on it. So I'll see you guys when we're ready to compact the silage. got all of the grass picked up and put in the silage pit. And as you can see, it's pretty easy to get stuck in it while you're hauling the trailer, which is why I like to compact it with another tractor that doesn't have a trailer. I didn't have really too much to cause us any problems here, but you can see when I pull in, it says it's 38% compacted, and that's just from us driving over it some while we were putting it in the pit. So the goal here is to get it 100% compacted and get everything cleaned up so that it's all within the pit, because the tarp will only tarp over what's inside the pit. So really it's a whole bunch of back and forth, and it'll smooth out as you compact it a little. And it also tells us that it's 85,000 liters of silage, which is good to know. You're not losing anything to a baler or any of that. Now, if I had the wheel loader, that would be the tool to use for this compacting and cleaning up, because it's bigger, heavier, bigger tires. But this will get it done. We're at 60%. And it's basically just a matter of, back and forth, and I don't even think I'll have to do any leveling out. I'll just have to clean up the ends, because you can see when you go to compact it, it kind of pushes it out the ends of the pit. It is taking its own sweet time getting compacted. Typically, you only have to drive over it 2 or 3 times. But then, again, in other instances, I've been delivering a lot more loads to the pit, so it would have been more compacted just in the delivery. Alright, that's got me at 99%. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and clean up the ends, and then we'll double check the compaction level. You can see I'm not really picking it up as much as I'm just shoving it. You got to get it that perfect height just before it lifts the tires off the ground. Well, that's not working. Go back to what I was doing. Then we basically just do the same thing to the other end. It's saying it's 100% compacted, so if that's the case. Once we clean up this end, we can tarp it. Would be nicer to have a slightly bigger bucket, which is one of the advantages of doing it with the wheel loader. This was 1,600, whereas buying a wheel loader is 100,000. I will buy one. I'm just gonna wait until I absolutely need it. Okay, let's not get stuck in the ditch. It's getting that perfect angle, the perfect height off the ground. That should get it done. Just make sure it says it's 100%. See how it jumped down to 94%. Apparently some of what was in outside the bin was not counted as compacted. Oh, there it goes, 100%. And then when it's 100% compacted, you have the option to come in here and blanket the silo. So that's just like it being wrapped. Alright, so now we got quite a bit of stuff to put up. I'm going to leave the log trailer in this field, basically because I have nowhere to put it. And it'll be fine. So we'll just get this put into the shed. Well, it looks like the wool may need some moving as well. Easy enough. What I'll do is I'll just throw it in the curtain cider for now. I really do need to go back and get the smaller pickup truck and a smaller trailer for things like that. We take care of that now. Jump in the semi. Drop this trailer here. Go grab the curtain cider that's next to the sugar mill, and we can pick up the cotton bales. Zoomy. Maybe a little too quick for its own good. Ah, come on. I was close enough. Maybe I just didn't back far enough under it. Oh, to open and close the back door. We won't write back. We got plenty of room for more wool bales. In the next episode, we'll have to get these up to the spinnery so it can start producing again. I think there's probably going to be some fabric to pick up there as well. So we may have to use some of our wood money to get a smaller truck and trailer combo. Then I'll just get in the John Deere with the forage trailer. I'll probably even leave the forage trailer over here. Because again, there's really nowhere to put it. We'll be expanding some storage, so we won't have to sit out here for long. Well, I feel like that was a pretty productive day. The trees are bye-bye, but the money will be hello. Maybe soon we'll be able to move the sheep over to the new yard and get the big sheep enclosure. We'll just have to see how the money adds up. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, take care.